we need to have a plot.
Okay. Just network.
Hope the
Actually fine.
network is acting up our own.
Yeah.
Mine is acting up. Is it
Your
acting
network
up?
can take.
Is it acting up?
Yes, it is.
It's
I'll
better
make use
now.
of mine.
Let me put on my hotspot. My
Is it okay now? I'm talking about the Clara.
I may look strong, but I don't feel strong. Quite an effort to put it on. So today, hopefully, by 2 hours, I would have had enough. I've got a detailed question. You are an incredible friend, a very long list. Hopefully, we'll get through everything within 2 hours. I don't think I can really stand more than 2 hours. One more apology, I sprained my neck yesterday. Trying to prevent anybody great crashing. So 5 different turned up.
Oh wow.
Having said that, there should be somebody that test your microphone to be sure it works.
Okay, sir. Thank you everyone for being here. Before we go into the questions, we'd just like to mention again why we are all here. For those who are online, we're here hanging out with Baba Omolayole. It's an interactive session where ISECers who are currently in school, ISEC staffs who are currently in school, get to interact and ask questions from the doyen of management himself, in the person of Dr. Michael Omolayole, who has been an ISECer since, I guess, 1978 or so. He has identified with ISEC not only in Nigeria but internationally. And for the purpose of this meeting, we have asked some questions which we had sent him beforehand. Baba will go ahead right now to give us his own experiences, his answers to our questions, so that we can glean from his wealth of knowledge. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Michael Omolayole. Thank you very much.
Okay. I have a list of questions here. Do I go through them one by one on my own?
No, sir.
Yeah.
I am here to help you with that, sir.
Okay. Let me make a preliminary remark. I'm happy to welcome here a lot of you who have never met. Waiting for the outing times. In between, some are available, the ones employed. I regard this as an afternoon with someone over 90 years, trying to look back my own experience of life. He may have reached out for, but I didn't hear about it. Now, when he got to Nigeria, I got to know about it because the University of Ibadan was still the only university in 1960. By 1962, there had been 3 or 4 universities. University of Nigeria, Nsukka, was established in 1960, October. The 1962 University of Lagos, University of Ife, at Maryland University. By that time, I think Isaac had arrived in Nigeria. Because the University of Ibadan was offering economics. And by the date, so just to be aware, they was in the Department of Economics. Eventually, he became professor, head of department, also professor, dean of. We were very, very close. Through his influence, I got to recognize. But also, the brothers have scholar who later became Professor Emmanuel Etozu. I think he said, although immediately, I think it must have been said, or that standardized. That's the question. First question. I'll answer this first, if I can.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, the questions were asked by ISECers who are currently in school, and I guess that was a mistake on our own part. I not letting them know that you were not an ISECer, but you are an ISECer at heart, sir. You are a friend, a patron of ISEC, just like you said. All right, so I'm going to jump over to question number 3, which says, as a member of the National Board of Advisors for ISEC in Nigeria and internationally, what role do you believe in Nigeria? What role do you believe ISEC plays in shaping the leadership potential of young Nigerians?
The role question 2.
Sorry, sir. Let me go back to question 2. Can you share a defining moment or experience from your time that had a profound impact on your leadership philosophy?
First, thank you for serving this question. I was able to do some thinking and put my mind together. The philosophy that guided my leadership style can only be described as what I say selflessness itself. If I put it that way. Selflessness itself. I saw that right from when I was a kid. I went to schools where some of the well-trained teachers were very dedicated. They were committed to their work. There were 2 groups of teachers under whose privilege I spent. One were Andrians. The Andrians were people who went to St. Andrews College or Law, which is now a university, found university. It was very difficult getting into St. Andrews. The entrance exam was tough. And they were Anglicans and they were very well trained. But apart from being good at what they were doing, and they were passing knowledge, they were also teaching morals and discipline. I never forget it. When I was in standard 5, the teacher who was teaching standard 6 picked the number of bright boys according to him. We were all in 5 and 6, maybe just about 6. And every Saturday, we went to his house for extra lessons. We didn't charge one pound. In those days, would have been penny, not 1 penny. He just loved to do it. He told our parents what had to give us extra lesson. And in those days, the parents respect the teacher. To put them in, always have some awesome feeling of my parents agreed, all the other parents agreed. I can't remember anybody who was asked to come from different schools. Apart from all of the lessons we have, often we will finish by 3 p.m. Start from about 9 and we'll finish 3 p.m. That's it. Then we'll go home. But sometimes we feel like going on because we hadn't finished what he really wanted to finish that day from his own pocket. It was lunch. And after lunch, we continue. At the age of 9, I was 10. At the age of 10 and 11, it was difficult not really to be very bright. Honest. We all did well inside life. And remember that particular teacher himself, he went to Forabi College, and eventually he became a reverend. Eventually he finished up, I think, as a vice principal or principal of CMS Grammar School. All right, that was an Anglican school. A year later, I was taken to St. Augustine Catholic School because my dad wanted me to go to the graduate college in Lagos. Again, ran into teachers who were trained as a graduate school. They too were very, very dedicated. My teacher in standard 6 was on Mr. Omolayole, and he again showed extra interest. Okay, sorry for the interruption. By the time I finished standard 6, the Reverend Father, who was the manager of the school, promptly wrote a letter to the graduate scholar saying, "Just have a bright boy, you admission." And the Father Warren just said, "Your wish is my command." And I was promptly admitted. I didn't take any entrance exam. My dad took me there, saw my report card, and only then asked, "If I put you in Form 3, can you cope?" I said, "Yes, Papa." "If I put you in Form 3, I said, "Definitely cope." He said, "Form 1, I said, "No, Papa. I've gone far beyond Form 1. So I was put in Form 2. At the end of the year, I came back. That, of course, justified the bit of some government. So my philosophy of life is selflessness itself. That explains it simply. The second part of it, of course, is integrity itself. Cannot pursue integrity, then I should never ever do.
Thank you very much, sir. You're still talking on the philosophy?
Well, that's the foundation of my philosophy. My philosophy is selflessness itself. Whether I'm going to pay for the job or not, number one concern is not the pay. The first is to be as selfless as possible in rendering that service and to do so with complete integrity.
Thank you very much, sir. So the first one is selflessness in service. The second one is integrity in service. And I think all these come up in the core tenets of ISEC. Thank you, sir. So we go to question number 2. Question number 3. Could you share a memorable story from your involvement with ISEC that illustrates the organization's positive impact on young people?
Yes, I have to think it a little bit. I'll be involved in ISEC now for more than 60 years. At the beginning, I managed to build up sufficient confidence, both with the students and who are ISEC, the University Don, who was the advisor, and finally ISEC International. Within maybe 4 or 5 years of ISEC starting, there was a minor crisis. And for a year or two, there was no ISEC. Didn't function. Most students' organizations in this country falter on the issue of accountability when it comes to handling of funds. And the second issue is not enough respect for punctuality. Punctuality is not just the soul of business. It's one thing. If you can keep time, keep your words. As a result, for a year or two, ISEC didn't function. But ISEC International knew I was already a helper and that I was a senior person in Unilever. I've become the executive director in Unilever in 1964 at the age of 35. So the delegate was sent. He came to talk to me and he appealed to me to help revive ISEC. And as I said, I will do my best. Again, I talked to Professor Bradley, who was a very highly respected academic. And I think he must have talked to those who were invited, together with the former staff advisor, whose name I cannot remember now. They put up another group. I don't think the ISEC International work at that easy. I managed to sell one or two concepts. Concept number one was that the annual account of ISEC, no matter how small, even if it in those days was no more than 10,000 pounds, it should be audited by a chartered accountant. And I will get one to do is pro bono, selfless. And if you have the imprint of the chartered accountant running his own firm on your annual account, you will have a lot of companies opening doors to talk to. And that happened. The chartered accountant was Edmond Ayola and Co. He was my friend at the University of Oxford. And I can digress a little by saying the life networking helps. Simply because we've known ourselves quite well for over 10 years. He was doing well in his profession, and I was beginning to show promise. He helped. Later in life, when he was he was Vice Chancellor of the University of Israel, he offered to be lecturer in accounting. All right. From that moment on, it was possible for the University of ISEC in University of Ibadan to have audited account. To have audited account. And it means a lot. A good many students find that difficult. You cast your mind back in your university days, clubs are always fighting over accounts. The second thing, of course, I insisted on, if you want me to participate in anything, management of time is very, very important. Okay, so at that, those things started to sink in sometime in the mid-70s, by which time I was executive vice chairman. I can't remember who was the president of ISEC. It could be Bright, Biani Fushi, I can't remember. One of them recommended to ISEC International that it was high time Africa should have represented. That was with the representative. So I did go to the process to participate in meeting. But something struck me, as most of you do. 1978, ISEC International decided to put on the very first international conference, inviting mature speakers to participate. I was to read a paper. When I got there, what did I see? On the day the event was to start, the opening event, Prime Minister of Belgium was invited to take the chair. And he was there. He didn't send the representative. It couldn't happen in Nigeria at that time. Not only was he there, he was there 30 minutes before the event started. organization invited the brother of the president of France. Chirac was president at that time. His brother was there. All the high dignitaries from many countries, everybody was there, promptly on time. And it went at the clockwork. Okay. That to me was a kind of defining moment as to what young people can do when they're determined and they're disciplined. And I thought students in our own country, Africa as well as our continent, have learned a lot. I hope I've convinced you that it really was a defining moment.
Wow. It must have been a real defining moment, like you said, for the Prime Minister to be on ground, the brother of Jacques Chirac to be on ground, and for you to be the African representative on the ISEC International Board of Advisors. Thank you very much for those insights, and even into the history of how ISEC came to be. Many of the young people watching right now will be very interested in this story. Most of all, the credence of keeping to time is something we will all refine in our day-to-day lives, because we said when you keep your time, you keep your word. I hope we all had that. All right, sir, thank you very much. We move on to the next question, which says, over your long and illustrious career, what would you consider your most significant accomplishment, and what lessons can others learn from it?
Again, because I had a long job in ICE, and I've seen a lot of hard time in life. I could think again of the ISEC conference in 1980. This took place in New York. Before the New York conference, there was almost a crisis in ISEC Africa. The number of countries now have ISEC. South Africa also has ISEC. South Africa, no black could be a member of ISEC. Now, all of you will be surprised with that. No black person. It must be lily white to be a member of ISEC. And the universities in ISEC were completely white and black. I'll mention Mandela later. But Mandela never, in his first 2 years, put to any mixed university. Later, which wasn't strong, we did. And that created a problem. Because whenever I said in Africa we wanted to have a regional meeting, the rest of Africa refused to do that. So ISEC again contacted me and said, please help us respond. And then said to myself, how could I do so? A tricky problem. We're talking now about up to 20 countries that have ISEC, and only South Africa. So it occurred to me that I can have a solution based on what Rotary International had also faced. Rotary International by 1980 had presidents in many, many countries. I had become a Rotarian in 1973. When Rotary was faced with a similar problem, what Rotary decided was to persuade South Africa not to be part of Africa, but to be part of Oceania, Australia, New Zealand, and Congo, for the sake of peace. Because Rotary cannot accept discrimination based on color. So I sold the same solution to ISEC International. And I said, this time, if South Africa wants to continue to be in ISEC International, then only they come through Oceania, the ISEC International. Upon all troubled waters, everybody was happy. And I said it to the show was very, very good. But we really thought in question. Then in 1980, during the conference, a young South African white came to me and he said, I understand you are leader of ISEC. I said, why? Since I try to be careful. He said it was not particularly happy with the political setup in his own country. He said, I'm glad to be there. He said, what hope do you think South Africa has for the future? Especially so I said, young man, can I assure you of one thing? The end of apartheid is in sight. You can see light at the end of the tunnel. He said, why is so confident? I said, although we're talking in 1980, there's nothing on the ground to give me this confidence. But I can tell you one thing. Only a few months ago, the Reformed Dutch Church in Holland, sorry, in South Africa, renounced the doctrine of black slave trade. It really wasn't a matter of for that. He was ordained by God. And they can quote whatever they want to quote, that they were born interior. And suddenly, there was a change. The whole church that is using their words. I said, apartheid is not more or less driven by adherents of that thing. Once they've eaten their words, it would eventually filter into political arena. I was talking 10 years before the light was eventually seen. Light was seen in 1990 when Mandela was released from prison. Okay. I wish I could communicate with the young man, but I didn't take any particular notice of it. That I think was a defining moment.
Well, that is very, very exciting. So you realize that ISEC was also part of the quagmire of apartheid in South Africa. This is something very, very new to us, and we thank you for relaying this experience as well as your prophecy that came 10 years before time. Thank you very much, sir. I'll go on to the next question, which says, in your opinion, what are the key qualities that make a successful leader, and how can young leaders develop these key qualities?
This is your number 5 question.
Yes, sir. Number 5. We have gone over your illustrious career. Yes, sir.
Well, when you talk about key qualities, I must only mention what works for. I'm not talking as a lecturer here. I'm not reciting a book. I've got to go back into my own life history and see what works. Now, among the many things that worked for me, the number one, I always say, the selflessness I had imbibed the young person. When I go into any assignment, I pray to make a good impact. Not stress how much am I worth. I leave it to my employer to worry about how much I'm paid or what position So character is important and does matter considerably. In fact, there is a poem that I have committed to read ever since I came across it. It says, when wealth is lost, nothing is lost. When health is lost, something is lost. When character is lost, all is lost. When talking about character, of course, integrity matters. All through my life, I will keep stressing the issue of integrity, of virtue. Unfortunately, this is a country where a lot of people are only clever by half. We may have many virtues, many things going for us, but integrity is not one. This country, in my experience, is like a vast desert with a few oases of integrity. And consequently, as an employer, I have no respect for anybody who will employ his own cousins and nieces. What is generally regarded as nepotism. I have no respect for anybody who brings cronyism into management. I have no respect for anybody who will take a backhander. And generally, when Nigerians are put down, it's because they're good in everything else. You see what happens behind. Unilever calls that what happens under the table. So when you're looking for qualities, A, that you're knowledgeable, B, that you have experience and competence, the integrity must be right there. If there is a judicial inquiry into what you just finished, it's never be found more. That was my attitude, and those are the qualities I bring. I have managed to get reasonably good results. Well,
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. I would defer to reasonably good results because you have very good results. I need to show it to all for all to see. In terms of a small summary, you talked about selflessness. You talked about empowerment, capacity building, and competence. You said if we lose integrity, we lose it all. And you also still said time management was very key. These are the characteristics you've given us as being essential for leadership. And like I said, you're not reading a book, you are telling us things that you've actually gone through and handled. And this reminds me of our ISEC values, which I'll just quickly run through for everybody to know. Part of our values are striving for excellence, demonstrating integrity, activating leadership, living diversity, enjoying participation, and acting sustainably. And I can see that what you are putting us through actually has all the elements of what ISEC stands for. Thank you very much, sir. We move quickly to the next question, which says, what advice would you give to ISEC members and alumni about making a lasting positive impact on society, both locally and globally?
last question says,
Yes, sir.
well, my advice here is I've spoken at length about qualities of leadership. I know from my own contact with ISIL that one of the things going strongly for the members is the fact that it will not exist in isolation. ISAC in one university is connected with ISAC in the other universities in Nigeria. They influence each other. They're also connected internationally. The international aspect of this is important. In many cases, when people talk about standards, they talk about world standards. Most people expect to be judged if an organization is doing well on what is acceptable, not just within their own country, acceptable in other parts of the world. And that emphasizes strongly the international nature of ISIL. Very luckily, the modus operandi of ISIL, right from the beginning, emphasized internationalism. The biggest selling point was for those who are good and confident and disciplined to go to another country as exchange students to work in those countries from a period ranging 2 to 3 months or even a year. It's the biggest selling point for ISIL. The members have to be confident, and they remember when they go out, they are ambassadors of their own country and of their culture. They cannot afford to let the country down. They cannot afford to let their own family down, a family name, and they cannot afford to let their institution down. That's a good motivating point. And I never came across any ISECA in the first 30 years of ISEC in this country who eventually made it, who never went on international exchange. I didn't make a single one. But in later years, international exchange became more difficult. Partly because globalization tended to favor movement of finance and movement of goods more than movement of people. You started getting into a situation where an ISECA is accepted by a Canadian company, but Canada will not give you a visa. So, it never happened at the beginning. A few bad eggs, of course, added to that. Anybody who went on exchange is expected to come back as soon as the exchange is finished. We started getting students who are known to the organizers here, and they are taking a Japan training. When they finish over there, they refuse to come back. And this is reported to the embassy. Next time, the embassy will refuse to give visa. for that. Now I call that extreme selfishness. Because you benefit, you don't care what happens there anymore. You climb the ladder, you kick the ladder thereafter. I hope we get to a stage where we can get back into all of this. The second is because the universities in this country started to run into all kinds of crises. Once upon a time, I say so because I'm thinking back now on the 40s and the early 50s. The university calendar is known one whole year ahead, and nothing is going to change. The day the lecture starts, the day the lecture finish, the day the examination starts, the day the examination finish, the day your result is going to be on the board. We were under the discipline of the University of London. As the result comes out in the background, the result is already out in London. There is a place called Russell Square. That is where the University of London has a board of all results. If the result is to come out at 2 p.m., if you went there at 1:58, you won't see it. At exactly 2 p.m., the result will be that. That doesn't happen anymore, which is most unfortunate. So you cannot have a exchange program where the student from Estonia will come definitely at a particular time, but the Nigerian, we don't even know. All right. And then finally, the question of accountability. In spite of the accounting system and the auditing, which I have helped to introduce occasionally, things fall by the wayside. All right. So that's the international aspects of ISIC. But there are other reasons why ISIC is there, globally and locally. Only serious-minded and disciplined students. In any university, you have a huge crowd who were there for different reasons. Some people only went because their parents said it's part of the family tradition to go to the university. You have people who go to university only because they want to be part of those, they say, happening people. All the good parties, all the expensive outlook in life, what I call life on the fast lane, fast and flashy lane. And then there are those who are in the university simply because they're determined to go far in life. There are even still those who think they will build a political base to compete as president or senator in the student union movement. But most ISECers have a common cause. Are the serious-minded ones who face their goal and want to graduate at the appropriate time, make a good name, and at the same time face a promising future. And that's what happens globally. It's for that reason that I think anybody who goes into ISEC is doing so with eyes wide open, were following a good crowd, not the crowd, not the bad crowd. So I've divided university students into three crowds: the good, the bad, the indifferent.
Thank you very much, sir. The good, the bad, and the indifferent. You decide what crowd you're rolling with in school. And another thing Baba said, he said, don't climb the ladder and kick the ladder. Whatever it is you have benefited from ISEC, I think the onus is on you to make sure that that legacy continues. And you even go back to support the organization that actually helped you. But most of all, he has spoken very much about integrity as well as timeliness, punctuality. I think those are some of the major things we're going to be taking out from this hanging out with Baba section. All right, sir, thank you very much. We move on to, and I must say, sir, before we move on, your culture of having the ISEC books audited annually has continued up till now. All the annually, the books of ISEC in Nigeria is audited. So I think, thank you. I want to say thank you for bringing that up, sir. So we move on to question 7. Can you reflect on your experience as the first and only African member of the Board of Advisors of ISEC International in Brussels? How did this experience influence your worldview? I know you've spoken somewhat about this, but we'd like to see how the experience as the only African member of the Board of Advisors of the ISEC International influenced your worldview, sir.
Yeah, okay. After the mid-80s, I can never now say whether there was another African who went there or not. But I can say this, when I was a member, I had no conflicts. I didn't think my color mattered at all. You know, I've read people like Martin Luther King, I've observed many of what they had to say. Also, because I had no complex, I participated, I made my point, I had courage to open my mouth without fear, partly because I was a freelance broadcaster for many years, both on radio and television. The truth of the matter is, once you give a microphone to a broadcaster, he's got all the strength in his body. If there was any shyness, it would disappear. So I made my contribution, and I listened to others when they make their contribution. I went to very prestigious institutions in the world. And therefore, you consciously or unconsciously, you align yourself with certain level of behavior and politeness. Even if I disagree with anybody in a discussion, I will still disagree in an agreeable manner. That is etiquette, politeness, all those things matter. When you are in international circle, you can say, I respect your views, but I don't disagree, I don't agree with them. And nobody takes offense in that. Even if you want to tell someone off, you can say you have several virtues. But I don't think punctuality is one of them. So, okay. First, the person laughs before he realizes you're pointing out what's not there. And I'm going to emphasize this later in the discussion. the universities you attend, the impact on the world opened doors for me. At the time I went to the University of Ibadan, the standards were exceptionally high in every respect. When I went to Oxford University, it didn't take long to realize that Oxford and Cambridge are parts of the establishment in the United Kingdom. When I went to Harvard, it didn't take time to know those institutions that belong to the Ivy League. Therefore, what institutions you choose to go to when you're young and you're lucky to be admitted, they help you in that. Okay, it's unlikely that I will meet anybody in the conference ISEC meeting who had gone to any institution I consider higher than Oxford. Yes. I also try to play the humility card. Humility is the mother of all virtue. Even if you're bright, don't wear it on your sleeve. So I get on extremely well with my colleagues at the international. And I'm a humorous person by nature, so I tell jokes. Once anybody can laugh with you, it's thoroughly relaxed. That is one thing. When I was part of the international ISEC circuit, I can recommend it. As I said at the beginning, I'm only telling you my experience based on what worked for me, not what I had read or what I believe can be helpful. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. Humility is the mother of all virtues. If you are bright, don't wear it on your sleeves. I'm taking your words verbatim, sir. Because everybody wants to show I'm bright, I'm sharp, but this is from experience. And you did say you didn't have any complex. So you were able to relate with whoever, lily white or powder brown, you were able to relate with whoever you got in contact with globally. Thank you very much, sir. We'll be speeding along so that we can allow you rest, because we know that this year you're going to be 95. It is not an easy task to talk to us for almost an hour and a half now. We'll be running it along very shortly. The next question is question 8. As a societal role model, what do you believe are the most pressing issues facing Nigeria and Africa today? And how can young leaders contribute to solving them?
Well, that's a really topical question. My personal view is, number one, there's not enough selflessness and service in the whole of this country and Africa. A lot of people go into high for what they can get, not what they can give. A lot of people go for what I call ego massage. Wrong target. Because when they're not high up, everything is at their feet, more or less. I think for some reason, you got to hope and pray young people, and many of you here are well below the age of 40 and 50, will not imbibe the thoughts of your seniors. When I was at your age, I saw far more selflessness than I'm seeing now. That is in the whole of Africa. It is also a selfish attitude that makes anybody develop a messianic attitude. Messianic means après-vous the huge. Anybody who understands French, it means after me is chaos. So they don't want to go. It was General de Gaulle, of course, who said après-vous the huge. Positions that should never have been contested bitterly, even at the society level, at professional level, they are competed as if it's a matter of life and death. If all you go for is to render service in accordance with your ability and fearing God all the way through, then there will be far more progress and development in this country. Now, that's my number one. One of the schools in Lagos has a motto. The motto says, non-CV said Alice. Most young people these days, they don't study that anymore. In that time, you have to, couldn't go to college or grammar school without learning Latin. Non-CV said LTM means not for ourselves, but for others. Lagos young boys used to interpret this to mean a different thing. In the part of Yoruba land, you call it spoon. CD. The food seller in a particular school was Alice. Then, newly admitted boy saw this school motto and he asked his senior by 1 year, senior, what is the meaning of non-CV? Said Alice. He said Alice Nichols CB. Alice says there's no spoon.
Non-CV said
What it really makes is not for us, but for others. That should be the principle that governs. But in addition, we have poverty, ignorance, and disease. All those three factors make for poor quality of life. And all the three are still present in Africa. So those who go into service must try and eradicate as much ignorance as possible. That can only be done through education and through raising the literacy level. Internationally, the month of September is the literacy month. Ignorance can only be cured by more literacy. Disease, by spending a lot of time and money on health. This particular interview, I have a word for my brethren and sis friend who are in the medical service. for God's sake, don't threaten strike at the drop of the hat. You took on a humanitarian job. And always remember the principle that God has more than mercy. Uh, do no damage. If you go on strike, you do damage. Always remember your oath. Your oath is to be as helpful as possible. That's on the disease part. And finally, in Africa, how much money you spend does not translate to how much development are taking place. Most governments tend to say, you spent this much on road. If what you said you spent on road, only 90% went into construction. I know 10% and 90% have gone somewhere. The other thing Africa has to contend with, like the rest of the world, is the difference between those who have and those who don't have. It's not just a gap, it's a chasm. This is what they call income inequality. You cannot be affluent and enjoy that affluence when your next door neighbor is in squalor. You will always be afraid. Those are the things you must all bear in mind. Therefore, those who are in a position to help this continent must spend wisely, must have what I call financial prudence. All right.
Thank you very much. Non-CV set alleys is something that is going to go with me, set alley. And the trio of poverty, ignorance, and disease is something that we all need to take note of and see how we can impact this in any opportunity we're given and in any role. He also mentioned the lack of selflessness leading to a sense, a messianic sense of being. So we must all take into cognizance that any role we do attain, it is to impact humanity. Thank you very much, sir. Rolling along, this I know is going to be very interesting. What books, mentors, or experiences have had the greatest impact on your personal and professional development, sir? What books, mentors, or experiences have had the greatest impact on your personal and professional development? This is question number 9, sir.
At this stage, I've got to drink.
Yes, please. Thank you very much, sir. And for all of us who are here, we're experiencing.
Okay, let me answer that. First, books. While talking generally about preparing for what I call empowerment and competence, I mentioned books. In the primary school and secondary school, I did not read widely. I was a bookworm in the sense that anything I was asked to do, I did it very well. But I didn't go outside to read anything beyond that. If it's mathematics, and we were taught as socialists and the theory, and at the end of it, the book had maybe 50 questions. The teacher might ask us to do about 5. And on my own, I would do everything. But I never picked up a novel to say I just want to enjoy it. The literature book, I would score high simply because that's what we do. I was good in scriptures simply because we had to be scored. Then life experience. At the end of my level 200, I was employed by Chief S.O. Omolayole. He was principal of Olusi College. The school only had 2 classes, Form 1 and Form 2. But somehow he brought 600 graduates into that school in the year 1950 for 3 months. Because he wanted all of those boys to aspire. They can see we were young. And he wanted to create in them that desire for knowledge. But beyond that, Omolayole started a competition in general reading for the boys. We were as masters. If a young man said he read one book, let's say Christmas Carol, and he wants to take another book, which may be Oliver Twist, the teacher has to confirm that he had read it, which means you have to read that book. Otherwise, you cannot confirm because you have to ask him questions. And so I started to read all the books I never read in secondary school. In the primary school, I read Robinson Crusoe, I read Gulliver's Travel, all simplified in Solomon's Mind, only because they were part of the literature form. So I started reading one. When I got back to the university for my level 300, I picked up the pleasure of reading, just reading for pleasure. And one of the books I was reading, Penguin book, was Red Brick University. It contrasted Oxford and Cambridge with all the other universities in Britain. You regarded the other universities in Britain as red brick. Most of them are red brick. But Oxford and Cambridge, most of them are built with stone. Most of the colleges. And it so happened at the University of Ibadan, the head of the university at that time was Professor Mellambi, was from Cambridge. The head of mathematics department, Professor Askinson, was from Oxford. So the idea crystallized in my mind that maybe I should go to Oxford or Cambridge when I finished. Only because I now started reading pretty widely. Ever since, not only imbibe the culture, I have helped to spread the doctrine of reading for pleasure. My own children, I insisted before they took common entrance at the age of 10, you must have read 100 books. 100 books, nothing to do with what they have in their class. And I have a whole library of long ones. They are all simplified series of classes. And they all then started going reading. Now, if you can get a child to a point where he or she would say, when mommy says, time for dinner, no, time for lunch, You say, Mommy, just let me finish this chapter. Then you know he or she is hooked on the book. She rather finish that chapter before going to eat. All right. The culture of reading. What books did I read? I read very widely, as I told you. But if you go to a conference, if it's a management conference, the first person you meet, they don't even ask, what is your line of business? You could say, what book are you reading now? I was invited to be chairman of an event in Lagos. The guest speaker and the keynote in that particular conference, one-day conference, was an American consultant brought from US. Before the opening ceremony, he was introduced to me. He started to chat. Then he popped the question, what book are you reading now? And I said to him, okay, just now, I've just finished 12 years a slave. That's not for 4 years, he said. He said, I didn't say with me. And I said, I'm reading now the last two. He said, no, I've never come across that book. I said, well, I'm finding it. It has to do with Spanish Inquisition when they were more or less persecuting the Jews. And a lot of them had to flee. All right, he was impressed, and I smiled to myself. In the United States, when there's let's say, a political election coming, and the candidates for office, they know sooner or later the journalists will ask, what book are you reading now? That doesn't happen in that country. You've got to read a lot more widely. So I read all kinds of books. Like, to be specific, I read practically all the books written by Peter Drucker. I lay my hands on. If ever you were interested in management or administration, and you never read Peter Drucker, I won't find it. The second is J.K. Galbraith. Galbraith was a professor at Harvard. He was eventually appointed by Kennedy as ambassador to India. I also read anything that is current. If you go to Britain often, you will know what is current. You come across my colleagues in Unilever. This time, maybe affluent society. That time, maybe organization man. Next time, maybe in search of excellence. If in search of excellence is involved and you haven't read it, you'll be left out. You can't discuss with them anymore. So, the search of excellence is an excellent book. I have it upstairs, but downstairs here, I have Excellent CEO. Okay, I only got this last week. My granddaughter just been admitted to MIT to do an MBA. MIT is Massachusetts Institute of Technology. She knows I love books. She saw this CEO excellence and said to me, I promised myself I must finish it within a week. Before then, there was the Future Focused Female Leader by the current Director General of Lagos Chamber of Commerce. So I do read, and I believe honestly that leaders must be readers. There are people who believe that readers automatically become leaders. No, it's the other way around. If you're a leader, you must read. If you read widely, it doesn't necessarily make you a leader. You must still have the willingness to accept responsibility to serve. People be picked as a leader and you can become, don't you? So, but there's a good connection between reading and leading. There's no doubt about that. So the books I've read and the general reading have been very helpful. Now, in your what they call the golden years, you're very, very old. You can still remember a lot simply because your brain continues to tick. You're still as sharp if you read and read and read. Then mentorship, I believe, in fact, every leader is also a teacher. Part of the responsibilities of leadership is to teach, not only by precept, but by example. If you talk to people about punctuality, you make sure you are punctual. My style of management, even at the topmost level, is to get to work 30 minutes before work was due to start. And I walk around the factory, I greet everybody, I see smiles on the face, I come back to my desk. Before when I get to the entrance to the administrative block, I stop for about 2-3 minutes to see employees as they came in. Some days I particularly stay there until I can then see the late comers. And I never talk to them. I never say, why are you late? They just say, good morning. Good morning, sir. I say, good morning. But if I see somebody coming late 4 times in a week, I get to my office, I pick my phone, and I phone the executive director in charge of. Are you aware that such and such a person came late 4 times this week? And he of course, will be really surprised and infuriated. All right. You teach by example more than what you. But even telling people, taking them through, I started life as a teacher. And I enjoy teaching a lot. Consequently, so anywhere I go, part of my job is capacity building. All of those are associated. Nothing pleases me more than to look back and to say, of all of the people that I ever employed, 10 of them became CEO. If not in the same organization, in some other organization. That's what I can say concerning reading and mentorship. I myself was mentored. I was lucky I mentioned to you networking earlier. If you perform well as a young person and you don't lose your head, you will be invited by very senior. I went on a course in 1962, what you call, were run by Ford Foundation on sensitivity training. At the end of the course, I was asked to make a speech on behalf of all the participants. Obviously, I must have made an impression on the touring. Chief Esco Adebo was there. He was the highly respected head of the civil service of the government of the West. The government was very, very efficient. When we finished, he called me, he said, "Young man, I'm impressed by your presentation. When next you are in Ibadan, I'll give you the lunch." I know because I have to tell him when next I'm going to be there. In order to be able to get I made sure if I had an opportunity to make a presentation, I make sufficiently good impression, but I could be invited back if necessary. Chief Udoji was the former chief secretary in the Eastern Government. After the war, he became chairman of Nigerian Tobacco. Eventually, he became chairman of Manufacturers Association. Somehow, he thought I made good impression with him. He would always call me. The judging commission that was how to do with salaries and executive performance in 1972, I was put on it. But after 3 months, the never sent me to Harvard. Even when I came back, although I had been replaced, the seat wanted me to do one or two things for them. The Papa Odutola, who was running his own business and was a very highly successful person, was one of my mentors. Simply because the senior citizens of my time, if they see a young man who is doing well but not arrogant, they will draw him there. Quite often, he arrived in Lagos very early in the morning because his base is in the body. At 6 a.m., he will phone me. I will say, "Michael," and I will say, "Sir." He will say, "Well, I'd like to see you." And I said, "Okay, if it's that urgent, I'll come right away, sir. If it's not that urgent, I'll come immediately after work at 5. And he will say, "Okay." But sometimes he won't say, I want to see you." He will say, "I'm coming to your office." And I say, "Sir, you cannot come to my office. I won't come to the house." Because obviously it was pulling my leg. It must not allow a senior person to come to your own office. No matter what he wants to do, he goes to the house first. I checked that. And if one day I saw Alaji Kumasi, who was chairman of First Bank. Alaji Kumasi said, "Young man, I can't find toothpaste." So I said, I send you the carton tomorrow, sir. Okay. I immediately go back, go to church with the marketing person, direction. I said, you deliver one to tomorrow morning. And I think Kumasi was flying to the north. I said, take it to him at the airport. He was taken to him at the airport. Of course, we were very, very happy. Subsequently, we both met on the board of Amadu Bello Governing Council. Okay. Now, those are the kind of little networking that I built up, and it could be very, very helpful. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. In summary, for me, you're a reader, leader, teacher in that sequence. And then you told us about networking as well as The Last Jew, the book The Last Jew. We should all go and look for it and see if we can read in your footsteps, not only walk in it, read in your footsteps. Thank you very much, sir. This is the last leg.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir. You have done wonderfully well. But I'm going to abbreviate this last question so it doesn't take so much of our time. Your last words for us, sir, as in terms of advice for the ISEC community, especially the young leaders, as they embark on their journey to make a positive impact in the world. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to frame this a little differently. Instead of impact, I'll call it contribution. What contribution should you be making? You leave others to judge whether it's in fact it's an impact. Because I don't personally like talking about myself. And secondly, if I do, I must show as much modesty and simplicity and humility as possible. It reminds me of the Atlanta Olympics in 1996. One of the great athletes of that time was the French sprinter. The sprinter was a black French person, which means he came from an African country and became a citizen of France. So she was part of the French team. She won the gold in 200 meters. She also won the gold in 400 meters. Only really, really great artists, sprinters can achieve that, like Michael Johnson. She was then asked by journalists, how do you feel? This time, an English journalist. And she said, I feel fantastic. And the English journalist said, you shouldn't be saying you're fantastic. Leave that to somebody else to say. He said, well, it is true, I've said it. That's the way the French, of course, expressed themselves. What she meant was that I think the performance was fantastic. Not that I am fantastic. So I'm going to relate this to positive contribution. Every young person, as part of the philosophy of selflessness, must aim at making positive contribution. And the way you can do it is volunteer to serve. If there's a society, most people don't want to be secretary because the secretary is really the engine of performance of any society. Now, when I was growing up, I volunteered to be secretary of many things. I was secretary of the Contemporary Society. These were all young graduates from highly respected institutions that were below the age of 40. Dr. Ademola Banjo, who made the first class in Manchester, is an alumnus of Ibadan. He was an alumnus, passed away a long time. He was the president. When we gather together, it's a question of volunteering as a volunteer to be secretary. Take all the minutes, contact all the members, all the various things that have to be done, and everything from my own pocket. You don't ask anybody because we're not giving, there was no membership fee. But we put on events, I make sure all the events happen, I take notes at the events, and I summarize what had happened in about 5 minutes at the end of it. One day, Isa Wali, who became ambassador Wali later, told me, you really are good. Because I summarized the event that had taken about two hours in about 5 minutes. Then there was an association of graduate teachers in Lagos. I volunteered to be secretary. But eventually, those things play dividend in the sense that if they think you can lead, and that was how I became the president of the University of Ibadan Alumni Association in 1958 here in Lagos. And I was president for 30 years. Simply because nobody else wants to take. Now, I also believe very, very much in what I call getting results, not excuses. He was the chairman of ITT. It's part of the slogan. There's a book called The Sovereign States of ITT by Anthony Sampson. He said the head of ITT when had an international conference and he was addressing everybody and he said, gentlemen, ladies, first and foremost, before anything else, I want results, not excuses. If you don't meet your target, there can be 1,001 excuses. I'm one of those who believe in results, not excuses. So you must do the very best you can to do. If you have that kind of culture, you will achieve a lot. I also believe that in the message of inspiration and hope, you should be very humble. Humility is the mother of all virtue. Even when you achieve a lot, don't wait on your sleep. Don't begin to give the impression that without me, nothing else can happen. And I also think the way you can inspire others It's to cultivate humor in your delivery, so that people can laugh and relax. Even if it's long and tedious, they will still laugh. You know, if I give a lecture that was becoming tedious and I could see it on the faces, I would say, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's been long, but please don't sleep. But if you sleep, don't snore. Well, everybody laughs at that. Even those who are asleep, they wake up. Um, again, whatever you do, don't say I'm starting out to inspire the other people. I'm achieving my goal. For every job you have, or any task you have to perform, there's a target, there's a goal, there's an objective. You and your team must achieve that objective. If you don't, then you really haven't done much. And when you've done it, you still be humble. One other thing which you, by which you can make contribution is everything you do as a young person show a spirit of sportsmanship. Some schools, to be a sportsman is as prestigious as coming first in the class. Some schools attribute everything, all the honors and branches will be given to the brainy ones. But in my old schools in Red College, your sports must go hand in hand with your academics. The all-rounder is the admired person. The all-rounder, of course, must imbibe the spirit of sportsmanship. If you lose, you must be gracious in defeat. If you win, you must be magnanimous in victory. You go to the person who you shake his hand, you hug, you say, it's just a game. The next time, you probably will win. We don't see enough of that in this country. You see a fair amount of it on the sports field, but in other things of life, you don't see the spirit of sports. When you lose, it's not the end of the world. And every competition is not a do or die. There will always be another day. You can invite that from when you are very young, and it will stay with you for the rest of your life. The school I went to, St. Gregory's College, because we were so good in sports. All of my friends in other schools, I used to tell them, the fear of St. Gregory's College is the beginning of wisdom. Yeah. But it's only a joke. You can do so in business, you can do so in politics, you can do so in civil society. Like, winning must not be the only reason you participate in anything. Participation is just as good as important as winning. That is the motto of the Olympics. So those are the things I'm asking young people to aim at, and that's what really makes my life. I've lost out in competition. It didn't matter to me. Well, it's been a long session, and And I thank you patiently for this.
Thank you very, very much, sir.
And as the Igbo proverb puts it, the lizard that jumps up from the top of the rope tree and landed on the floor shook its head and tail and said, I praise myself, nobody else did because I'm still alive.
Thank you very much, sir.
I'm happy I didn't faint.
Thank you very, very much, sir. We are actually so grateful. And first and foremost, we've come to the end of the event. We need to let you go because we didn't start on time. And I know going forward, punctuality is going to be our motto. And this event was, we're going to take some comments from people in terms of tributes and comments. But before that, I'd like to call on Elizabeth Ekanem to present you with a gift from ISEC Alumni Nigeria and the ISECers. Elizabeth is the think tank that came up with hanging out with Baba. Elizabeth single-handedly thought about this program. Elizabeth single-handedly ran around for this program. This program is the brainchild of Elizabeth Ekanem. She conceptualized it and she made it happen. Well done, Elizabeth. Well done. All right, we'll just take 2 or 3 comments from the people in the crowd. Some of our alumni are here, sir. They would like to say 1 or 2 things to you for this event, and then we'll take the photo shoots, and then we'll be on our jolly way. Thank you very much, sir. I'm going to start with one of our past presidents of ISEC Alumni Nigeria, and he's from the Jos LC, and we're so glad to have him present here. None other than Alhaji Idris Yakubu.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay, Michael Omolayole, the president of ISEC Alumni Nigeria, with me, and fellow ISEC members, ISECers who are here. Good evening. Papa, it's so very nice to see you again. When I got an invite to participate in the Alumni Hangout out of Lagos, I just confirmed my presence last night, and I told them I would try to be here. I had a lot of things that I was doing earlier, but I had to just jump out of somewhere to be here at the time I came. So I know the principles of punctuality. I couldn't have been here by 2 that you planned, but I had to squeeze to be here. And I'm happy that I made it to be here. I never lose an opportunity, to be with you. And today is another very refreshing experience, I must say. I've known you for over 30 years. I think I'm one of those very few, I'm sure, in this room. I know you longer than everybody. I didn't see Shola here. I think Shola is probably the only one who is active in alumni today, who is older than me. I got to Lagos in 1990, and I joined the alumni since then. And I've been part of the alumni. I was in the executive, and I've participated and even organized one of the lectures severally. And that provides an opportunity to interact with you as well as learn a lot from you. Every meeting with you is an experience. Today is another experience. Apart from all the virtues, punctuality, selflessness, humility, doing things right, I've learned a new one today. One thing I don't do is I don't read as much as you do. In the rest of my life from today, I try to start reading. I do read, but I don't read books actively like you do. I think I'm going to start with the CEO Excellence, taking note of it, and look for it. I see that a lot of the things that we do are similar to what you do in a smaller scale. And I'm happy that every day, like I say, is an experience getting to meet and know you. I'm not going to say much more. I'll say that I'm sure a lot of us who are here and those who are all over the world listening to this continue to be proud of you. We're very proud of you. We're happy to organize a lecture series in your honor every year, and we look forward to joining you on the 28th at the special support. Thank you, Baba. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then for the ISACers, the ISAC, one person, word, comment, observation. Ife, Afeyi, minutes because we are way past Baba's time. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. I really enjoyed today. It feels like today was for me because my notepad is full. Like my phone, I was just typing away. Plus your personal stories, things I could draw from, like your actual experiences. Thank you so much. I am grateful, and I'm sure we are all grateful.
Thank you very much. So it's now time for us to take the pictures, and once we take the pictures, we call it a day because we didn't start on time. We apologize for that, sir, but we are ending it now. We'll just take pictures. So we'll have some people standing at the back. We'll take away these chairs, and some people will stand here, and we'll take a group picture with Baba, and then we'll call it a day so that Baba can go and rest. Thank you very much, sir. All right, those that are tall, please. Those that are very tall, let's say at the back. Those that are taller than those at the back, please come forward. Please come forward this way. All right, Mr. Photographer will be leading your assistant here. Yes. All right, so let's just gather around. Let's gather around. All right. Okay, Mr. Photographer, we're waiting for you to organize us. So can some people still join here? Can they see? Okay, good. What am I sitting here?
Okay, okay.
Sorry. So say I said, say what? What's up? What's up now? Okay. All right. Yeah, I said, what's up? I think he's again. Everybody's come. Join. Come on. Okay. Okay, I'm looking. Yeah, I said, what's up? Okay, so we just wave at those at home. Thank you very much for joining. This is the final lap. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, everyone. All right, then. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Oh, we are now like,